What's up, golfers? This is the Pace of Change.
It's about family, it's about fitness, it's about fun, and it's about fast.
It's about changing perceptions about the sport of golf. Golf is a fitness sport.
Recreation, community, engaging with all age groups.
It's something I've never ever thought of playing, but I actually really think it would be fun.
I had to wait 25 minutes on that tee box. The fact that I'm not doing anything about this is the reason that it persists.
It is undeniably different.
What they said. That's what we're all about here at the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. We turn on the mic, we let the future come out. Scott Dawley, your co-host, along with Dude Spellings, broadcasting the evolution of golf in the 21st century. Today we're going to continue our conversation with Mack McLain. This is part 2. People are really loving part 1, so let's keep it going. Enjoy it. Don't forget, our full library of past episodes is located at paceofchange.com. There is a short survey, 3 questions. If it takes you a minute, it took you too long, fill that out. We're interested in our listeners' opinion about pace of play. While you're there, of course, don't forget about our sponsors and affiliates page. They've got great discounts just for you on the latest, greatest, game-changing products and services for 21st century golf. Now, if you didn't hear it, last episode we announced that we are releasing on October 10th on our website, paceofchange.com. This is exciting. Definitely talking about it just creates excitement for fans, for players, gives them something to shoot for. The inaugural 2016 Speedgolf Power Rankings. Again, it's just based on voting. It's a subjective vote based on the results of the last several years of speed golf events. You can learn more about it at paceofchange.com. And of course on the podcast we'll explain exactly how this works and the purpose of the 2016 Speed Golf Power Rankings. Alright, here we go. Mack McLain, part 2. Enjoy. You got a master's in geotechnical engineering.
Yes, I guess it actually took me 3 years to finish, but I was also by the end of there I was hurt and I was working part-time as an engineer for the last year.
How'd you get hurt?
The years of overtraining. Mm-hmm. It was kind of it was my approach physically and mentally that led to that. It wasn't as simple. There's nothing I can point to. I can't point to my leg and say, oh, I hurt this muscle or this tendon or this joint. It was general stress. It was, who knows, it could have been, I could have been missing something in my diet. Mm-hmm. Part of it was, just, mentally, I think something gave. I was pursuing this so hard. I wasn't making a living running. It's so hard to do. I was just trying to get to the level, just to give myself a chance to make a living. It's not, and that's kind of why I went to grad school. So it was like, okay, this is a good option. I can further my career in engineering and I can try to compete.
Continue to try to
compete. Track. And it wasn't ideal because I was trying to serve 2 masters, it's like the ancient problem. You can't serve 2 masters. It was tough and I put too much pressure on myself running wise. I was trying to train like the best in the world. And a lot of their coaches exaggerate their training and a lot of them are taking performance enhancing drugs, which I wasn't. Mm-hmm. You can't train like them if you're not cheating. So, well, the ones who are cheating, because I've had conversations with guys who I don't think are cheating, mm-hmm. and they look at some of that training I was trying and they're going,
are you on PEDs?
They're like, just like the guys on PEDs aren't even training like that. Their coaches are lying, so.
Wow. So what year was it that you kind of, this started to happen and you started to go, all right, this, as a career, this isn't going to.
This is 2014.
That's a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And you had, and let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Take me through each lap And I don't know how you break down a race mentally, how you prepare for it and say, okay, when this happens, this is my strategy as I go around, assuming that everything that I think is going to happen with the runners around me happens. But talk to me about the strategy of running a 1500, and take, for example, either the fastest one you ever ran or when you won a national championship. I mean, what is the strategy for lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, that kind of thing?
Okay, so I think I'll start describing what I think is a true miler.
Okay.
And in my opinion, a true miler is someone who, when they move up in distance to a 5K or 10K, they really struggle in the middle of the race to hold the pace, and they could be dying with a lap to go, and they can still sprint the last lap.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. That's the true miler. So you put them in a mile race, the same thing kind of happens on a microcosm, except they don't die as bad in the middle of the race. So a true miler is still going to have a flying finish in the last lap. Like I would say Nick Willis is probably like a true miler. He has that, he can go in that last 200 meters.
He's got the kick.
But he's not, when they get in those Diamond League races that are paced, he has trouble keeping up with the guys who don't have as good of a kit because they can push the whole way. Some guy, some of the best in the world at the mile in the Diamond League, they just run as hard as they can from the gun, basically. Yeah. And in my opinion, that's not how a true miler runs. I would say the true miler sits on them and tries to outkick them
at the end. And that's exactly what Nick Willis. I watched Nick Willis in all 3 races at the Olympics, and in the last 100 meters, he passed 3 people each time.
Right. That's also how Matt Centritz, who won the gold. That's how he races too. He often doesn't do well in the Diamond League races that they start sprinting from the gun. But in the tactical races, they do the best.
What was amazing to me in the finals of the 1500 in Rio was that the first lap was like it was crazy how slow they were. They looked like they were jogging.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, why didn't Nick or why didn't somebody else just go, this is ridiculous. I'm not, like, the winning time and the gold medal time was like 3:50 something.
Right. So the thing with that is,
but in order to even qualify, sorry to interrupt you, but in order to even qualify for that race, you had to run 3:39.
Right. So it's basically, when you're all, you take the 12 best guys in the world and put them on the starting line, it's a suicide mission to lead from the gun, because somebody, maybe even the whole field, is going to sit on you.
Yeah.
You're going to break the wind. They're going to be more relaxed, and they're all going to destroy you at the last lap. And that happens if you can put 2 guys of equal ability and try that, and the guy sitting on them is going to win every time.
Now you're talking
that's why no one leads. It's not just wind resistance. Part of it's mental. When someone is leading you, coming around that last turn into the last 100 meters, they're never going to beat you if you're of equal ability. The guy behind is going to win every time. Part of that, I think part of that's breaking the wind, but part of it is definitely mental.
Yeah.
It's the chase. It's the hunt. It's our animalistic instinct.
So you're saying if one guy breaks out and says this is too slow, it's a suicide mission because everyone else is just going to speed up to follow you, because they can all run 3:39, even if you're running a 3:52 pace.
Yeah.
So you have to sit and wait and trust that at the right time. Now, do you look at a spot? Okay, so we're going around the track. Everyone stays in a pack.
For me, it's like survival for the first 3 laps, basically.
Okay. That's where you're. Okay, explain that further. So
you're trying to conserve energy, but if the pace is slow, that's not really an issue.
Yeah.
So you need to be willing to move out into lane 2 to get in the right position.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be 10 meters behind the front guy going into the last lap. You want to be near him.
Yeah.
And you'll see the pack often bunches up.
Yeah.
When they're ringing the bell, the pack is bunched up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying. Everybody's trying to position. Everybody's trying to get ready, and then somewhere on that last lap, you have to make. You're hurt. Your whole body's screaming at you. You're hurting, but your adrenaline's flying because you're getting all competitive. The animalistic instinct's kicking in. You want to beat everyone, and you have to really time it right, because some days you can sprint from 400 meters out. Some days you can only sprint from 100 meters out. So
you
part
have
of
to make the decision on that day.
Yeah, part of it's how your body's feeling. You can't try, if you're feeling terrible and you try to sprint from too far out, you're risking dying, and
Well, you watch that. I watched that a lot. I watched guys that took off, and you think, oh my gosh, they're going to do amazing. And then they turn the last corner and they're gassed. They got nothing.
So that's something you're thinking of in the race, is because you're not going to win every race you're in.
Yeah.
And sometimes your goal is to pick up a medal. Sometimes your goal is to score for your team and just beat one guy. You're not always trying to win. If you try to win and you're not, say you're really like, somewhere between 5th and 10th in the race, and your goal is to win, well, you get up there with the front guy, you may die so bad you get 11th. So
yeah,
it's kind of like, it's that risk reward thing. It's like, you got a par 5 over water. You're thinking, tin cup. You're thinking, can I hit this or not? It's the same thing. So sometimes you gamble and you lose. Sometimes you sprint from 400 meters out and you tie up and die in the last 100 meters.
All right. So if the strategy is for you not to be out front, why is there always a guy out front? What is he thinking? Is he like, shoot, I got stuck up here?
Because
or
we're all different, and that guy might have a little bit better endurance, and he doesn't trust his sprint at the end of the race.
Okay.
So he's thinking, I need to beat him from further out.
Interesting.
So
when was at what distance was your, go into first gear and just, it was 100 yards out, 200 yards out?
I felt like I could make a move. If I was really patient, if I waited till 150 meters, I was never going to die in the last 150. But that's not an option when everybody starts sprinting with 400 meters to go. So you're like, okay, we're going now.
Yeah. I'm in
try to relax as much as possible and wait. It's a patience game. And that's most of the mistakes you see are people going too hard too early and not being patient. Mm-hmm. And that was that's how Nick Willis grabbed that bronze. He was patient. Some of the other guys freaked out and were, tried to sprint from the bell, and they ended up croaking in the last 100 meters. And so that's like how training is too. You got to be patient in your training.
Your introduction to speed golf.
Yeah, that's where you come in. So I was, it's 2014. I'm in grad school. Running things have evaporated. I actually had a pretty decent, professional contract. I was getting, I wasn't getting paid, but I had travel money, and I had a lot of great gear, this is a big
Adidas?
deal. With Adidas. This is a big deal for me, from coming from a D2 school. I didn't get any gear in college. This was it was so special to me to achieve that level. And I was so ready to really attack, some races that year after a good 2013, but it never materialized. This is when my whole body was just screaming at me and nothing was going right. My mental approach was wrong. My physical approach was wrong. Everything was bad, and it was, I'd gotten married the year before, and it was stressing our relationship because I was so upset and stuff. So it's like my whole life is like caving in on me at this point. That I had to take a deep breath and just keep saying, okay, this is why, I went to grad school because I'm doing the right thing here. Yeah. I had to take a lot of reinforcing, and, I had to just, at some point I kind of quit training hard, and I was just kind of trying to jog a few times a week, and all my muscles were so tight. My knees hurt every time I tried it. It was so miserable.
What is going on?
The day my knee didn't hurt, my foot hurt. And it was I went like 8 years without having any serious injuries. I definitely had some, plenty of minor things, but, nothing was working. I started playing some golf that summer, just for fun, And I'd made jokes before that, if we combine golf and track, I'd be one of the best in the world. And I joked about that to other pro runners before. And I'd started to notice that at this point, I barely played golf for the last 8 years or something. And I was hitting the ball really well. I was hitting it way further, way more consistently. It was my short game that was good when I was a kid. That's kind of what saved me and made me competitive. And that was kind of gone, but I was having so much fun just playing at altitude. It's easy to hit a 300 driver here.
Yeah.
And that gave me a good mental release from all the pain I'd experienced in running and all the dissatisfaction with. I'd finally set myself up to succeed as a professional, and everything had evaporated. That was pretty painful mentally. And I mean, I'd have to take a deep breath. I'd call my mom, and she'd be like, come on, it's not that bad. You're well fed. You'll have a good job soon. I had to I felt pretty selfish, feeling bad for myself. Oh, I can't run, but that's for someone that competitive. I've seen so many friends go through this too. It's so agonizing to not be able to do what you love.
It's very similar, like on the mini tours. You got all these guys. Every guy on the mini tour thinks they're going to be on the PGA Tour,
right?
And then a lot of them have the game. Some of them are fooling themselves, and I might maybe should put myself in that category. But heck, when I was playing, I knew the game was there. I knew the talent was there, but like 95% of the other guys on the mini tour, at some point the window opens and you go, man, this probably isn't going to happen, for different reasons. But so I know how tough that is to have to kind of detach and let go from kind of, all these plans that you had made about the future, which is also the right thing to do. You're supposed to plan. You're supposed to have goals that you're reaching for, and you're supposed to believe in them 100% and give everything you have. And when you're doing all of that and it's not happening, it can, produce pretty dark times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to pour your whole life into something and have it, crash and burn. But
yeah. So having your wife, having your wife there, I'm sure, was she a very supportive in terms of helping you get through that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's a runner too, so she tore her plantar fascia in college. She went through a whole year of agony. So
oh my gosh, that sounds.
I mean, that's so she'd been through that, and it's tough. Like pretty much every runner goes through it. But then that was so I started playing golf again, and I'd heard about speed golf that summer because Nick Willis had played it. Mm-hmm. I'd competed against Nick. Not well, he destroyed me, but I had competed against him. And I was like, hey, I grew up playing golf. I was like, Nick's pretty good at golf. Like, I should try this. I think I could be competitive at this. I found the CBS video from
2012.
And, and Bernard Lagat had played in it too. And I never raced Bernard, but he's definitely a legend in track for many reasons. So anyway, I looked up Speed Golf International, and you were directing it at the time, so I gave you a call, I think, or you gave me a call and you told me about speed golf. And yeah, I played my first couple rounds of speed golf in August or September that year. And, the first time was pretty rough, but the second time I was like, this is pretty fun. So for me, I started running a little bit that fall again. Running wise, things were not going well. I could sort of run, and I was still, from all those years of training, I was still pretty fit, enough for speed golf, but it was disappointing because I was just not in competitive running shape. I didn't see myself getting there, but it definitely, speed golf gave me a nice out, gave me something to look forward to. It kind of filled that void.
So, all right, so you went to the World Championship in 2014, and how have your preparations, and then you came in 2015, you finished third, I believe, right? You finished third last year.
Yes.
Yeah, you did. And this year, how's your training compared this year to previous years?
So it was about, I went through, 2014 was the rough year, played in the World Champs in October. And, my body still wasn't ready to train again. So at that point I was working an engineering job and finishing grad school. And everything started to get a little better at this point. I started making good progress on my thesis, and
which is what? What is as an aside? What is your thesis?
I was studying debris flows.
That's what you said.
Debris flows are mass movements. Think of a steep mountain valley. You think of a bunch of water debris shooting out of it. That's a debris flow. Flowing down a channel. It's a little different from a flood because you got a lot of debris in it. And
when you say debris, you might mean rocks and
mostly rocks and soil, but also trees, cars, houses, whatever else it picks up.
Gosh, wow! What fascinates you about that?
Oh, I mean, just watching the videos and think, wow, this really happens. It's one of those I grew up in Oklahoma. We don't really have those there.
Yeah.
Plus, just
to see that much matter moving,
right.
It's kind of awe-inspiring.
In in many third world countries, debris flows will occur and kill tens of thousands of people. So it's a really important phenomenon elsewhere. So that definitely drew me. I was like, this is something I can pursue. And my research is research is generally a little more boring than that. It's I was doing a lot of computer analysis and statistical analysis, basically trying to figure out trying to predict the path of debris flows. It's kind of where our research group is trying to go.
Is your job, how much of your job is, 9 to 5 in front of a computer screen, and then how much of it do you get out in the field?
Right now I'm entirely in the field. Spend most of my days on construction sites, monitoring and inspecting and sampling.
Is that something you prefer as opposed to being in an office building? And
it's tough because it's critical to be a geotechnical engineer. You have to have the field experience. Otherwise you can't do the office work. And it's nice not staring at a computer, but at the same time, it can be really tiring work. It's exhaustive. Often I'm lifting heavy things. I'm working in the sun all day. It's tough to go to run 10 plus miles afterwards, but it's been a good experience. And I think I'm really happy with how my training has progressed this year. I'm in much better shape than I've been in since 2013.
And you're not running 100 miles a month or a week, are you?
Not quite. I've done a few of those weeks, but I think it was a little too much. So I've backed my mileage down.
Good. Yeah.
I've been running for like 60 to 70 miles a week, trying to take a day off a week. I cut out doubles. I just run once a day, basically.
Nice. Good. And we're 2 weeks out now, basically. I mean, you're going to be there in 2 weeks, so there's not much else, you can do. At what point are you going to start tapering? Then a week out?
Yeah, I think I'll take the last week just a little bit lighter. I try to treat it like a cross country race.
Mm-hmm.
And golf wise, it's hard to play in the winter in Colorado. It's dark after work, and it's snowy.
It's also snowy.
Right, and I kind of put my golf training on hold a little bit. And that's one thing I'm having trouble transitioning back into, playing more golf. I'm not an early morning person, and I often have to be at work really early, so it's not really an option to practice in the morning. So I'm trying to, I'm going to go play some speed golf tonight.
And when you do that at night, if you run, do you just you run around? If you run into somebody, do you just go backwards and play the hole again, or?
I try to be just really flexible, and I don't, I never wear a watch.
Yeah. Just
have fun. I mean, the running part for me will take care of itself. It's more about, I'm just trying to mentally practice, trying to hit a few shots, just get a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, hit some balls.
Try not to
heart
think
rate
about
up.
it too much.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to develop a real simple, consistent swing. That's one change I've made to my golf swing. I think it's actually helped me in regular golf as well. Like I've compacted my swing a bit. When I hit a driver, I'm in speed golf, I never take a full swing with the driver. And I'm so much more consistent. I basically hit it as far anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's helped my golf game all around.
That's great. What about any short game work you're doing?
That's where I'm struggling. One of the things that I'm struggling with, I'm trying to decide what wedge to bring. When I was a kid, I was partial to my 56 degree Titleist Vokey. I lost it at some point in college. So I've been playing with a 52 degree wedge.
That's what I play with.
Golf. Yeah, and I try to change it based on the course, but some of these courses we play, you just don't hit any flop shots, so
yeah,
you really don't need anything. But I debate whether I want a 54 or 52 for speed golf.
I think 54 or 52, either one will work. I think if you get up into the 56, 58, 60, it's like the versatility of the club starts to go away. Whereas with a 52, if you need to hood it, close the stance, and hit it 130 yards, you can. Yeah. And if you need to, choke down, open up, and hit a flop shot out of a bunker, you can do it.
Right.
So I like either one. I would just at this, like today, I would pick one and be like, okay, I'm only going to play with this one from now until the World Championship.
Yeah, and that's all I have right now is a 52. So
yeah, good.
my practice has been pretty specific.
Yeah. What else do you have in the bag? What's in your bag? Hey, I know you want to get to what Mac is putting in his bag at the World Championship here in 11 days, October 17th and 18th at the Glen Club in Chicago. But really quickly, what I wanted to say was we have a power ranking coming out, and Mac is on it. So definitely need to check that out next week, October 10th. We're releasing it on our website. Let's go back to our interview. Thank you.
So I'm debating now because every course is so different. You have to be really versatile in speed golf. You know that, Every course is so different. And we're playing a lot of the courses a little bit shorter. It's not really fair to play a 7,400-yard course with four or five clubs.
No.
This, the Glen Club where the world champs are is a very short course, a lot of dog legs. It really doesn't help to be able to hit a 300-yard drive. Often you can't even, good luck finding a fairway 300 yards out. So I'm debating whether switching to a hybrid off the tee or something. So I've been hitting my driver too far, actually. And I think you got to keep the ball in front of you in speed golf. You don't want to be, it's so hard to find your ball that.
Yeah, if you're hitting it sideways for a 4.5 mile run, you're going to run 5 miles instead of 4.5,
Yeah, and you're going to spend 5 minutes looking for balls. That's a big deal. And so I'm considering switching to a hybrid. I'm hitting the hybrid pretty far. I'm thinking about going just hybrid, 8-iron, 52-degree wedge putter for the world champs and trying to engage my speed, which is kind of, I think that's my main competitive advantage is the running part. I can run fast and it doesn't bother me at all.
And then you only have 4 clubs, or is that 4 clubs? You got hybrid, 8, wedge, and putter.
That's only 4 clubs. I've been playing with 5.
Yeah.
I played with 5 the last 2 world champs.
I'll tell you what, honestly, that one less club makes a bigger difference than
I find it hard to, because I do the no bag thing, and it can be hard to grasp all your clubs when they're on the ground. Actually, just once I'm running, it's fine, but trying to just pick them up, I feel like I spend an extra minute around just trying to corral them all. So,
have you tried out the silo yet?
No, I haven't.
You should try it, man.
I'm partial to my cantilevered effect of having clubs, and I'm thinking 2 clubs in both hands sounds really ideal for me as a runner.
Yeah, it is, and
that's why I left the speed golf bag in the first place.
Yeah, no, I did too. Is because you can't actually the shoulder that you're holding the bag on can't really rotate, so you just have to hold the bag flat, and so the clubs aren't bouncing around as well. And then that wears your shoulder out over 4 miles of running.
Right, you don't want to be thinking about your shoulder when you're hitting a shot. So.
But I'll tell you, with the silo, what happened with the silo is you actually don't lose that motion. You can still run, and the thing only weighs 5.5 ounces. So,
that's a great invention. I think more and more people are going to be using that.
Yeah, and we'll tailor it to speed golf to make it. I think it could be actually a little bit wider in circumference. Right now, it can, if you want to do more than 4 clubs or 5 clubs, it becomes an issue. So with the way that it's currently designed, but if you're going with 4 and you want to keep them all together, I think it's a great idea. And Dude will have them. So if you get there early, just go out and try it for a couple holes, and you'll see, like, taking the club in and out, getting the club in and out, it's a piece of cake.
Easy.
It's easy. Yeah.
That's a great design. I think it's really practical for those. When you go out at night and you're not going to be able to fly through 9 holes or 18 holes because there's other people out there. Yeah. It's great to have something like that. Because like tonight when I go practice, I'll take my speed golf bag.
Yeah, because you're not exactly. Yep.
And that is the tough thing for me right now. It's hard to practice specifically for the competitions. I need to, if I really want to improve my speed golf game, I'm really going to have to improve my practice strategy.
I think there's a distinct advantage for people who focus on time.
Absolutely.
In the end,
definitely.
It's hard to tell, but I think looking at the stats, you go, yeah. In the end, if you can do things with your strategy to focus on getting it in quicker, even if that means sacrificing a couple strokes, it seems to work out for the better score-wise.
Right. It seems, I think one of the biggest things with speed golf is that it's extremely hard to consistently shoot low scores.
Yes.
You know, like compare you and I, like I'm a better runner than you. You're a much better golfer than me. But it seems that your range in speed golf, your scores, you have a bigger range than I do.
Yeah.
And I think I have that tight range because I can get through the rounds so quick. I see that, and that's same with Rob Hogan. I think that's why he's number one in the world. He's a better golfer than me, and he's more practiced than all of us at speed golf, and he's the quickest. So I think you're right. It's like figuring out how to be quick is a huge advantage.
So in that case, if I was your speed golf coach, I would tell you to spend the next 10 days chipping and putting. I mean,
that's good advice.
Go out on the golf course.
You want to be my speed golf coach?
I will be your speed. I would be an honor to be your speed golf coach. I would say, chip and putt, man. For like, if you have an hour, that's all you should do. And then once a week, like you said, take your bag, go out and get used to your heart rate being up higher and hitting shots. But I remember last year training, I went out 2 or 3 days in a row. And by the time I was out there, and I didn't go play speed golf for an hour. I just went out for 30 minutes, ran around. By the time I did that 3 times, I was like, okay, I get this. Like, I don't need to get used to this anymore. There's a little bit of getting back into it and getting used to that flow and that rhythm. But like we've talked about before, it is such a in the moment kind of state that you're in that you really don't have to do a lot of preparation in that way. You automatically get there. I mean, you're pushing your body. You're putting it under stress. You end up in that flow state, and you kind of don't have to train to get in the flow state. Whereas with regular golf, you do. You actually have to train your mind to do all these tricks and jump through all these hoops to get to that place.
Especially because it's 5 hours.
Right,
5 hours.
Exactly. Golly. So, but for us, we get in that state, and then we're just there, and we know we can get through the next 40 minutes doing that. So, but I just remember how hard I worked on my short game last year. And that paid off big time with that even par round.
Yeah, you played so well.
Out of my mind. It was so much fun to do that. So
were you the low scorer? If you just for the golf scores last year at the World Championships, were you the low scorer?
Yeah. There was somebody that shot 74 on the first day, and then
Landon. I think.
Yeah, he shot, which was incredible. I mean, 74.
And that wind,
And that wind was like crazy ridiculous, and the greens were running 12, uphill. But that golf course is going to be tough, and so I just remember how hard I worked on my putting. I mean, I remember being on the putting green a couple weeks before, and I felt like every hole I looked at, ball was going in, and it was just because, like you said, I had trained so hard that when I got to the final day of the World Championship, I stepped up on the first tee, and I wasn't as nervous as I normally would be because I thought about all the training that I did. And that built the confidence in me, and it let me just release, let go, and say, today's going to be a good day. I got a feeling, let it happen. Just let it happen. You stay out of the way. You let it happen. And that's what happened. So
that's good advice for any sport or anything in life, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nothing new. I'm not
get your brain out of the way and let it happen.
You just let it happen, man. Well, what are your hopes and dreams for speed golf in terms of in the future? Where do you see this thing going, and what would you like to see different and better about speed golf?
Well, I mean, right now I see so much potential. Like, it's like that's whenever I meet somebody new or somebody I haven't talked to in a while, they want to talk to me about speed golf because often you're just being polite, asking people about their life, but like I'll try to change the topic and they'll keep talking about it. Like they've seen so many people who don't even play golf seem genuinely interested in speed golf because it's unique and exciting. And I see so much of that around. Like a lot of my parents' friends are really interested in it, just not playing it themselves, but they're just like, wow, that's incredible. I'm sure some of it's just people being nice, but people don't even ask me, like even when I was running at my best, even if, I just competed in a U.S. championships of track and field. People weren't asking me about running like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd mention it, but with speed golf, they want to hear all about it. And I get tired of talking about it sometimes. So I'm afraid I'm like hogging the whole conversation because everybody just keeps asking about it. So I see a lot of interest in it, and I think I want to see us get a little bit more, a little more organized. definitely, like, this is something right now I'm working on my athlete page, and I'll probably have that done this week. Cause I'm going to try to, I have not done that. I used to do it when I was, competing and running. This isn't the age of social media. I've got to get my name out there. I've got to get Speedgolf out there. We all have to do it. Rob Hogan and yourself have done a great job of that. The rest of us, there's a few who's done all right. And, there's, plenty like Virginia and, Australia has done a great job, but, a lot of us are lacking, and myself included. I am lacking in getting our name out there. So I'm going to work on promoting myself and the sport, trying to bring some more sponsors in. I think that it has to be a group effort at this point. We can't expect somebody to give us $10 million to start a league.
Right.
I know that'd be ideal, but
yeah.
ESPN isn't just going to come and film every event. We got to start promoting it ourselves. And I think with the age of social media, we have the option to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that as something we got to get better on social media. We got to start, filming some clips of events and putting together some videos that show the event that people will, can watch and follow the event a little bit, maybe some real-time scoring. I'd like to see us have, like, at the World Champs, it'd be great if we could have hole-by-hole times. I think that'd be cool. It's like, whoa, I played that par 4 in, 87 seconds.
Yeah.
Or,
and made birdie.
Birdied that one in 62 seconds, or
Yeah.
I think that could help. And
well, the technology is there. That's the thing. It's there. We've got to put it all together, and then once we do that, and there has to be, like you said, there has to be a legitimate expectation that the work going into that kind of building that kind of platform is going to be worth it, and it's going to, more and more people are going to be on it. But you're definitely right, man, and I'm so glad that you've decided to do that, and that's going to encourage somebody else to do it, and listening to this podcast,
absolutely.
People who are playing speed golf are going to go, yeah, I need to be posting more on social media, and it is happening. I'm trolling social media, just looking out. I'm trying to like and love and share, anything significant that happens in the world of speed golf. So one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 10 people, it starts to really make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best of luck at the World Champs. I'm glad we get to share this before that so people can kind of get to know who you are, even players that are going there. Well, play good, train hard. Call me if you need any more coaching advice.
Oh, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. You're one of the most knowledgeable, if not the most knowledgeable about the sport. So
awesome, dude.
I'll take any advice I can get.
Okay, buddy. Well, we will talk to you later, all right?
All right. Bye, Scott.
All right, episode 36 in the books with Mack McLain, part 2 of our interview with him. So good. Mack is on target. Definitely on target for a W. Can he take it away from 2-time champion Rob Hogan? We'll find out here in 11 days, 12 days. In 4 days, we're going to find out who the top 15 speed golfers are on the 2016 Speed Golf Power Rankings, brought to you by the Pace of Change Golf podcast. And we're going to talk about it right here in 5 days on October 11th, next Tuesday. Hey guys, thanks for listening. We appreciate your support. If you're on iTunes, subscribe to the Pace of Change Golf podcast and leave a review. It's so powerful if you do that. If you're on YouTube, subscribe there. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about these podcasts. Who else do you want to listen to in the world of golf? You can follow us on Facebook /Pace of Change. On Twitter @Pace of Change Pod. You guys are great. As we always say, pick up the pace, play from the heart. We'll see you next time.